Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Moina Bass Fishes and I am the Chief Asset Manager here at Moina Bass Fishes Operations. In this video, we are going to discuss a tournament I recently fished on Lake Minnetonka. It was the Champions Tour Pro-Am. It did not go as I'd hoped. I finished, well, me and my amateur, Gray Newman, it's a random pairing. We finished 26th place. So in this tournament, the format is such that there's a pro division, there's an amateur division. It's a one-day tournament, by the way. You're randomly paired with an amateur, and then you fish together that day for a shared weigh. And it's for eight. It's an 8 fish limit, where each fish is caught, weighed on a tournament provided scale. Then the weight's recorded, and then the fish is released right where you caught it. So that's why they decided to go with 8 as the number. So that's what we were dealing with. So yeah, like I said, we finished 20. Did I say this already? We finished 26th place out of 38 boats. A far cry from what I was used to doing there back in the 90s and 2000s. This is the first July tournament I have fished out there since forever ago, since I don't know, 2009 or something like that. I did fish one earlier this year, the Minnetonka Classic. That was the first time I'd fished any money tournament out there since 2010 for sure. So, but anyways, I'm just pointing that out. I don't know, maybe I'm trying to make excuses for myself, whatever. But it's been a long time, and it was fun to do it, but the results were not what I was hoping for. And there's so much that I gotta say that I'm not gonna do it all in this video. But there's a lot of there's just so much to say about things that I experienced out there now compared. A lot of it's comparisons. I'm going to do a whole video on comparing now Minnetonka now compared to 30 years ago, because actually this year it's the 30-year anniversary of where I basically started my professional career in bass fishing, and I happened to start it with a $50,000 first place win on Lake Minnetonka in what was then called the Don Shelby Invitational. So, gosh, 30 years ago that was, but that put me in motion and land. Basically, that's put it all in motion to get me to where I am now, which is quite a different place nowadays. But anyways, let's talk about the tournament. Okay, so normally I put out practice videos for my tournaments, but man, I just didn't do it. So because I was exhausted when I'd be done at the end of the day, and I just didn't do it. So anyhow, so the tournament was on Tuesday, which would have been July. I don't know, was it the July 16th, maybe, or 17th? I don't know what it was. But anyway, it was Tuesday of this week. So right now it's 2 days later. And anyhow, oh boy, where do I start? Well, let's start with the practice. So we got official practice. You can practice as many days as you wanted. So I practiced. You had to be off the water half a day on Monday, so I practiced half a day Monday till noon, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, and part of Thursday. So, and wait, maybe it was all of Thursday and then part of Wednesday. I don't know. So lots of practice time, lots of it. And it was, overall, my practice was very disappointing. I found myself not really dialing in the better sized fish. I caught lots of fish, but dialing in the fish needed to win, which I believe it was just under 28 pounds. So 8 fish for almost 28 pounds won the tournament. Congratulations to the winner. At the moment, I forget the name of the winner, and there's a whole story behind that too, which that's not going to be included in this video either. Let's just talk about what I did and how I caught them or didn't catch them in this video. So, so the practice was bad, and I was fishing, and my whole strategy was deep because back in the 1990s and 2000s, in July, I won a lot of tournaments in July back then, and it was all deep, fishing. So why would I do anything different, right? The lake is different though, and that's what I'm going to have to cover in that other video. But just a couple of highlights would be, I would say the three big differences would be more fishing pressure, um, uh, improved water clarity, and a completely different weed composition in the lake. So those are the big differences. Now, so going into the practice and through practice, I was fishing areas that I normally wouldn't have fished 30 years ago or 25 years ago. But I also fished a lot of those same areas that produced back then. And I had mixed results, very mixed results. There was really just one place that I really felt like I needed to fish in the tournament. Like, man, I have to get there, and I wanted to get there, wanted to start there. It was like I said, it was a 38 boat tournament. I was boat 33 in the tournament. And I knew right where I was going to go. I mean, I had to think about it for a little while, but like, no, there's no doubt. I got to go there. And I get there, even though it's boat 33 boats ain't that much, and the lake's kind of big for that many boats. But I get there, and there's already 3 boats there. So 3 boats is already too crowded. 2 boats is like max. 1 boat's preferred, but me being the 4th boat, just not happening. So, and I never did get to fish that spot because when I checked it 2 more times, there was always somebody fishing there. So, anyways, and I don't know if they, I don't think anybody drilled them. I think I think a few nice fish came from there, but I don't think the winner was fishing there or any of the top guys. So, not sure what happened. Not sure what went down. I'll probably never know. But in practice, it was really that spot was really cool because I threw in there, caught a 4.5 pounder, which was my biggest one in practice. And then I threw back in there, and instantly another one hit it. I shook that one off and reeled the bait like 5 feet really quick, and another fish grabbed it while I was reeling it, and I shook that one off, and then I never made another cast in there. But there's always a place I like to go to. It's a place when they're there, you got a good shot at catching, a 4 or 5 pounder, or maybe even bigger. And if they're there, at least you're going to get like a couple of 3 pounders usually if they're there. So anyhow, never got that spot. But the lake's huge. I mean, there's tons of areas to fish. So okay, you don't get that one spot. Go somewhere else and catch your winners, right? Well, I couldn't do that. It was really, we caught quite a few fish throughout the day, and we just never really got into any sort of quality. We ended, like I said, 26th place. We had 18 pounds and I don't know, like 18.5 pounds, I think it was, somewhere right in there. Which, our biggest, we had a 215, we had a 214, we had like a 29, or was it a 2.6? Then maybe 1 or 2 others over 2 pounds. I don't know. And then our smallest one, I think, was a 110, and I think we had a 113. So I mean, we had room. We definitely had room. You know, a couple of 4 pounders would really helped us out a lot. That's for sure. But we probably even need more than that. Really. I mean, if we would have got 2 4 pounders, that would have added about 4.5 pounds to our total, which would have put us at 23 pounds, which still wasn't in the money. So we were like 3 really quality fish away from even being in the money, because I think the money, they paid 8 places in 38 boat field, and I think the last money spot was right about 24 pounds, maybe 24 and a couple ounces. Um, but yeah, so why, you might ask, why am I playing around with a 38 boat tournament? Well, the payout was that good. Even with 38 boats, um, the Champions Tour, uh, I mean, obviously they wanted more than that. They didn't get it, but you know what? He still paid out. He still paid out the first place prize of $15,000 for 38 boats. So you're fishing for $15,000 against 37 other guys. That's pretty darn good. And he still paid 8 places. And 8th place still paid $2,000. It was I believe it was a $1,000 entry fee. I was gonna say maybe it was $750, but I think it was $1,000. So you're still doubling your money if you get 8th place, and I commend that. I don't know what 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th got. You know, it might have been a big drop off of the 15 because he did not get the boats that he wanted. But I still like to see that you know, the last money spot still at least they got their entry fee paid for, and you know, expenses. So that's good. Congratulations on that Champions Tour. Anyways, so like I said, I was keen on deep fish out there, and it was a combination of throwing jigs, throwing drop shots, throwing jig worms, throwing Nico rigs, and it never seemed like I could get around the fish. So many of the fish had moved. Even the 2 biggest ones I caught had moved from where I found them in practice. And it just, the only reason why I caught them, well, I might have thrown out there anyways, but I knew there was a rock out that, so in practice, I caught these fish up in the coontail, right? In like about 13, 14 foot of water. And we'd already flipped in there a bunch of times. So then I just took I picked up a football jig and chucked it out deep where I knew there was a rock out there, and I caught the 215 and 214 on back-to-back casts out that rock. And then I caught a bunch of other smaller fish that were like 1.5 pounders that never really made the tally. But I should have listened to that, because then I went and ran a bunch of other weed spots, and they just weren't there. So maybe they were. I'm thinking, well, maybe they were on the outside, not up in the weeds that day. But I did try some outer stuff, but mostly inner. It was just, I don't know, I couldn't get around the fish. You know, I had a good partner. If I got him around the fish, he's going to catch some, and he did. It was just up to me to get us around the right fish and get us to cast to where they actually were. And it's so hard. You're like, when they're in the weeds, you're like fishing for a needle in a haystack. Really, there's a lot of grass out there, a lot of coontail. Coontail is the predominant grass out there right now. The curly pondweed, that was the predominant grass when I was there for the Minnetonka Classic on May 31st. It's just amazing how all that acreage, that just acres and acres and acres of that stuff, just is all died off now, and it's been replaced. All those nutrients that are released when that curly pondweed dies off, it's all taken up by the coontail that grows out a little bit deeper. So they overlap in a lot of depths, but ultimately coontail will grow deeper than curly pondweed. But they do have some overlapping depths, because there's a lot of, coontail can just as easily grow up in it can grow in 5 feet. So we see that in 5 feet of water in Minnetonka, and then the deep weed line in the clearest parts of the lake can be 20 feet or even slightly more. So, yeah, and it was really disappointing tournament for me. I was hoping to recapture some Old Glory. I was hoping to. Uh, uh, I'm having a terribly bad year in all the tournaments I'm doing. I've made one check in so far this year, and it's been all the decisions have been going wrong, been bad decisions, the wrong decisions, and it just it was happening again. I just couldn't get on the fish and play, and so many of these places, I literally had found like 10 or 12 schools and all that practice time, and they just weren't paying off. You roll up on a spot and they're not there. Then you go to the next one and you don't get bit. And then you start spending time and looking around the area. You move off your waypoints and just move in a little deeper, move out a little farther, move a little left, a little right, and you're still drawing blanks. Or when you do catch one, it's a pound and a half. So that was just the continual ongoing story for me. And then that's just oh gosh, it just was not happening. And I don't get it. Do not understand it. So I really thought I even said this to Gray, my partner, in the morning. I said, I told him, I said, we probably got about a 50-50 chance of getting to 24 pounds with our 8 fish. We didn't even come close. We only had 3 fish that would go to a bag of 24 pounds. We had a 214, 215, and like a 29. And obviously we would need some like 3.5 pounders to offset the shortage from 3 pounds on those fish. So far cry from where we needed to be. So, but it was, I did enjoy the tournament. I chose this tournament instead of the Rainy Lake tournament, which we always do, or I almost always do. And in fact, that tournament started today, and actually, one of my buddies is leading it. Steve Sandberg and his brother Scott are leading that, I guess. This is this info is from my tournament partner that I used to fish with, Joe Thrun. And yeah, Steve and Scott, who won it, I think they won it like back in 2015 or 16. They won it up there. But anyhow, hope they hold on. As far as me and Minnetonka, I've got more videos to come out with, and I do have another. I got a redemption on the calendar. The Thorne Brothers Classic is in like a week and a half. That's just a regular partner tournament, which I'll be fishing with Gunnar Meeson. And when him and I get in the boat together, just stuff happens. So I look forward to that. We've had discussions on strategy already. He's totally into it. I'm totally looking for redemption, and I really think having his brain in the boat through practice is going to be a big help to look at things a little differently than maybe how I've been looking at it. But I am looking at it differently now too. There's definitely some things that I'm going to change from how I fished this previous one, and I'm not going to say exactly how, because we do have this tournament coming up. But there will be some Minnetonka videos coming out, and especially talking about some of the big changes from 30 years ago to now, and how I feel like how that might impact what's going on out there as far as the fish is concerned, and that sort of thing. And by the way, in our tournament, there was not one single smallmouth weighed. It was all largemouth, not just by us, but by the whole field. And whereas you compare that to the first tournaments of the year, where there are some big smallies to be caught off of beds, but those fish just weren't around. Apparently, the guys weren't targeting them or whatever. I thought maybe in practice I had 2 of them jump off, but wasn't sure exactly because the way I was looking into the sun was still kind of low. The fish jumped through the bait, and I couldn't really see it was, I saw the shady side of the fish, but it almost seemed like it had a smallmouth silhouette, two of them. And we did fish there in the competition, but never even had a bite there. So yeah, I can't believe it. I just can't believe how bad it was and how much work I have to do out there to really um, get back dialed in. But there's some things that after Monday's practice, we had the half a day. That was one of my better practice days, and everything I found on that day basically fell apart. So it's just so interesting how it's very interesting. But I'm having plenty of time. I mean, I've had plenty of time to think about it in 2 days now. I spent a lot of time doing that. It's just, there'll be a new formula for this Thorne Brothers Classic. Let's put it that way. Not sure what exactly what it's going to be because we got a lot of practice to do. I'm not going to be out there practicing until like next Monday or Tuesday. I might start getting out there again. Right now, I'm actually in Tennessee right now. Drove down to Tennessee yesterday, and today there's a grand opening of a Walmart, or a re-grand opening. I'm not sure which it is. Might be a re-grand opening or a grand opening of a Walmart here in Tennessee, where Bridgeford requested my presence to be at this. So I'm grateful for Bridgeford, and this is one of the duties that they asked me to do. And this is, if you have sponsors, it's not what they can do for you. It's, you got to ask yourself, what can I do for them? And when they come calling, you deliver. So, anyways, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll be coming out with another video soon. It's for sure some more Minnetonka tournament or Minnetonka videos. But I'll have to think about exactly when I want to release those because of the tournament that's coming up. So I might get into the nitty-gritty of it after that Thorne Brothers Classic. But anyhow, but don't hold me to it. Don't hold me to it. But I mean, this does have to be an educational channel, so I can't keep everything secret, right? And well, that's a whole nother topic, is secrets in bass fishing. So that's a whole nother video that I've been thinking about. All right, I'm going to bed. Over and out.